Alright. I mean, who you put first? What's your priority? Is it real? Is it Memorex? Is it true? Is it just something that we are pretending to be? Are we putting on airs? Are we um, making it seem like something that is not? Let's get into it, y'all. All right, Urban Therapy with Sun 752, but this your daily go get 'em is the number 188. All right, so this evening I want to talk to y'all about when people say that they put God first or that they put their kids first. People say it all the time, right? We hear people say it all the time. It's almost like it's cliche. I put God first. Always put God first. People give advice. They tell you put God first, and then everything else will fall into place. Everything else will follow. Everything will be all right. And it sounds good. It sounds good, but to be totally honest with you, a lot of the people that I know who say that they put God first, the evidence doesn't always support them putting God first. Now, let me clarify something before we even get into anything crazy. I'm not trying to place any unfair judgment on anybody. I'm not telling you how to worship, who to worship, what to do, what you should believe in, or how to think. But when you put it out there for yourself and you say that you put God first, one of the things that comes to my mind is, well, what does it mean to put God first? Like, do we know firsthand what God wants for us? What God wants for us? And are we even physically or mentally able to put God first? Because we would have to know exactly what God's plan is. And most of us admit that we don't really know what God's plan is. A lot of people don't even believe in God. We're not going into that, but when you start talking about putting God first, like, what does that really mean? Does that mean that you are honest and kind and loyal and faithful and generous? You're a helpful person. You know, you are what most people would describe as a good man or a good woman. Excuse me, a good man or a good woman, because you would have to be a good man and a good woman who is representative of God if you want to say that you put God first. So is that the case? Is that something that we're dealing with? Is that an actual fact? Is that real? I mean, it may be and it may not be. I mean, think about it. But it's something that people say. It's definitely something that people say often. I know a few people say, put God first. I always put God first in my life. A few years ago on Facebook, I put out a question, and it was asked them rank like 5 things in order of their importance in your life, and it was like money, God, family, children, your job, work. So it was like, it wasn't just God, it was like religion, whatever. And a lot of people, well, some people put God, and some people actually put money, or their man or their woman. Oh yeah, that was one of the choices. Your man or your woman, you know what I mean, or your spouse or whatever. So, I think that people kind of kept it true for the most part when they didn't say that they put God first in their lives. Because like I said, a lot of people say that they put God first in their lives, but a lot of people who say that are some of the meanest people that you've ever known. They're some of the stingiest people that you've ever known. They're some of the most unkind people that you know. The type of people that get on your nerves, not really the type of people who you ingratiate yourself to. So if you put God first in your life, does that mean that you could put everybody else second? Or maybe the first 5 slots are taken up by God, and your fellow man comes nowhere on the list, or so far down on the list, his or her importance is almost totally diminished. I mean, I can't really say, you can't really say. I mean, and in many ways, it's not even really our business to even try to say, right? But what about when people say that they put their kids first? They say they put their kids first in their lives. Is it true? Do people who say that they put their kids first really do that? Now, some people do put their kids first in their lives, and they do it to a fault. like they mean that they'll spoil their kids. So all of their financial dealings go through their children first. So they make sure that they have shoes and sneakers and coats and jackets and gadgets and all that kind of stuff. So they spend all of their money where their children are concerned. So they do a pretty good job at spoiling their children, but what else? Because in my opinion, when you say that you put your children first, to me that should mean that you put your children first in the opportunity to succeed. Be successful socially, be successful academically, be successful mentally and emotionally, be successful physically, be successful career-wise, be successful in friendship, be successful in love, be successful in relationships. That's what I would think that a person would concentrate on. Well, those are just some of the things. There are more, but those are some of the things that I would expect people to think about when they say that they put God first. I'm sorry, when they say that they put their children first. Let's speed it up a little bit. What about people who say that they put their children first, but as soon as they get a new man or a new woman who really, really interests them, they put their children on the back burner? You know? So it's really like their man or their woman comes first. Because if your children were first, then you know how sometimes children have problems with anybody that gets with mom or daddy. So if you put your children first, then you probably wouldn't have the approval of your children to see whoever you want to see. Not only that, but how can you put your children first when some parents aren't even good enough to put anything decent first? You know, they're so busy teaching negativity, you know, sometimes based on their bitterness, sometimes based on their misinformation, lack of understanding. There could be a whole lot of things that would make you put your children first. But one thing is for sure, you can't be running around here talking about you put your children first, but whenever Mr. Whoever or Miss Whoever comes around, you just hook up a little oodles and noodles of some beefaroni, ravioli or whatever, something you can make really, really quick. And y'all go upstairs and handle y'all BI. And don't come down for a while. That's not putting your children first. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a personal life, and definitely not saying that you shouldn't try to fulfill your physical needs. But first is first. And what does that mean? Well, putting your children in the best situation to be able to succeed. That's how I think that you should put your children first. So, of course, everybody's not going to agree on that, and that's okay. What's up, Crystal Cat? But when we talk about putting God first or putting your children first, make sure that we really understand what the ranking is all about and what the duties of the ranks are. When you rank something high, that means that there's responsibility that comes with that. And if you're going to rank it as far as number one, you should have already been fulfilling those obligations. All right. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, listen, when you put things first in your life, whether you put God first, whether you put your children first, whether you put family first or whatever, if it comes first in your life, remember, that's the one thing that you are supposed to concentrate on the most. Those should be the things that you build the foundation of your existence around. Even if it wasn't always like that. It comes in first now. That means that you were old enough and mature enough to decide that they should be at the top of the ranks. So let's get out of here, yo. The Daily Go-Getterism show is every single day, 6 a.m. The Daily Go-Getterism show is every day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call in number 319-527-6199. blogtalkradio.com/son752. Peace.